Hi, how are you all? This is your Sir Rico. Welcome to the second lesson under Module 1. Are you now ready to participate? Okay, let's start with a short review first of the last discussion. First, we will have learned that the basis for teaching and learning all about Dr. Rizal is the Republic Act 1425. Second, Teacher Luis also gave us a review of how a certain bill becomes a law. Third, the current Rizal law is a compromise solution of the both houses since they have their amendments during the debates. Fourth, conflict with the Catholic Church and the proponents of the law arise due to the personal interests. It even got the nation's interest that time. Lastly, the highlight was the bill passed into law mandating educational instructions in the Philippines to make available a copy of the notable books of Jose Rizal, however, must not mandatorily require the students to read. Those who wish to read, however, you are always welcome to ask for the copy from your respective professors and librarians. It seems to me that you are already knowledgeable about the Rizal law and the issues that was on its way. Okay, in today's lesson, we're gonna talk about the conditions of the Philippines in the event of Rizal. Let's start first with the economic condition that time. What do you notice? There's already an existing market life that time, right? The first notable observation that time was Manila is revered as an open zone, holding influences on culture, language, and communication. Being an open zone, few Chinese people were in the Philippines during the early times of Spaniards' colonization. They were required to pay high taxes, and restrictions are imposed on them, such as they could not travel to other parts of the islands. Marrying a native woman and being baptized to Catholicism permitted the Chinese to enjoy privileges and incentives. This resulted in the birth of mestizos. Chinese population increased and commercial activities were controlled by the Chinese traders, which posed alarm to the government, and they employ taxation, control, and conversion to protect their own interests. Contributory in becoming economically independent middle-class entrepreneurs was the shift from domestic to export agricultural production during the mid-19th century, opened opportunities for Filipino middle classes for gainful profit, as well as the influx of machinery and consumer goods from the West countries. It enabled them to send their children to higher educational institutions like Letran, San Jose, and Santo Tomas, even in Spain. The strategy used by the mestizos proved effective and brought economic fortune to their families. They were proficient merchants. They founded a strong retail connection in the cities and provinces in the island. The Chinese mestizos continued to dominate the race, and from the rank, ascended a hero. That is now Dr. Rizal. So, that's it with the economic condition that time. Let's now proceed with the political condition of that time. Let's start with the crafting of the Cadiz Constitution of 1812. It was an important event because it was participated by the delegates coming from the Philippines. It is the earliest constitution of Spain and embraced the principle of free thinking and equality of all the citizens. But the question is, does it cover the rights of the Filipino people living in the colony? That's the issue. Ventura de los Reyes y de la Cerda was the representative of the country in this assembly, raised concerns on improving the condition in the country. He stood up for reforms that will serve the interests of all inhabitants in the country. Liberalism in Europe also brought important change in the Philippines. The political struggle between the liberals and the conservatives inspired the natives and Creoles to claim equality with the Spaniards. Launching of Suez Canal in 1869 resulted from easy voyage between Spain and Philippines. Hence, Spanish bureaucrats were able to stay longer and practiced corruption. The Guardia Civil also become oppressive. They extort and bully farmers. For the social condition, social stratification of the society was present. Middle class composed of principalian mestizos who were usually elected as gobernadorcillos or mayors today. Lower class natives, laborers, and workers in the field, they were reserved and loyal to their masters. Although middle and lower classes have different economic and political status, they were bound by a common aspiration to be free from the colonizers. Of course, those were just the significant highlights during that time. As we dig deeper about the life and works of Dr. Jose Rizal, I am sure you will still find many interesting things about him. That's all for now, and we are now at the last part of our discussion today. If you have questions, make sure to reserve it as you will be having an online meeting and graded recitation with your respective professors. As a conclusion, Rizal will not be the Rizal that we know today if it is not for the social condition of his time. He might not have been to Europe if his family did not support him, or let us say he was not coming from a middle-class family. See, even as today, majority of our interactions are caused by the environment. What we can do now is to learn from the experience of Dr. Jose Rizal. We might someday be Rizal version of ourselves. Let us get to know him more and his life next week. That ends our discussion for Lesson 2. I hope that you have learned something meaningful today. Next week will be Lesson 3. I invite you all again to watch and learn from our next resource person. Keep safe and see you all soon.